Your teenager sleeps till 2 p.m., barely speaks, and their grades are falling apart. You call it laziness, screen addiction, typical teen nonsense. Here's what they call it: exhaustion, numbness, a constant weight they're too tired to explain. You think you're dealing with bad habits. They're trying to survive the day. You're looking at the same kid and telling two completely different stories. Only one of them's true. And if you're wrong, the cost isn't their grades, it's their life. 1. They're just being a moody teenager. Your kid used to talk to you. Now they give you one-word answers and spend hours alone in their room. You think, typical teen stuff. Reality, depression doesn't announce itself with a diagnosis. It diagnoses itself as normal adolescent behavior until it's not normal anymore. 2/3 of parents can't tell the difference. 40% struggle to distinguish normal mood swings from depression, while 30% say their teen hides it too well. But here's where you're losing them. Normal teen moodiness varies. Bad day, good day, back to bad. Still engages sometimes. Depression is persistent deterioration. 2 weeks or more without a break. Withdrawal from everything they used to enjoy. Normal sleep changes. Sleeping in on weekends, staying up late. Depression. Sleeping 14 plus hours daily or barely sleeping at all. Sleep as escape from consciousness. Normal irritability has a target. They're frustrated with homework or curfew and can tell you why. Depression is rage without a target. Everything irritates them and they can't explain why. The window between just moody and clinically depressed is where most parents lose their kids. You're waiting for it to get bad enough to worry. They're waiting for you to notice it's already bad. Your teen isn't being difficult. They're being depressed. There's a difference, and that difference is medical. 2. They just need to try harder. Your kids' grades are dropping. They quit the soccer team. They stopped hanging out with friends. Your response? You need to push through this. I didn't raise a quitter. What they hear? Your suffering is a character flaw. Depression isn't laziness wearing a disguise. It's a medical condition affecting the brain's ability to produce motivation, pleasure, and hope. The dopamine system, the part of your brain that drives motivation and makes achievement feel rewarding, malfunctions in depression. When that system crashes, it's not about willpower. It's about neurochemistry. Telling a depressed teen to try harder is like telling someone with a broken leg to walk it off. Technically, they could try. It would be agonizing. It would make the injury worse. Your teen isn't choosing to fail. Their brain is failing to produce the chemicals that make effort feel possible. Just get up and do something. Sounds reasonable. To them, it sounds like you don't believe their pain's real. Like you think depression is a choice they're making to inconvenience you. 3. You have nothing to be depressed about.
You got a roof over your head, food on the table, parents who love you. What do you have to be sad about?
This is the number one reason depressed teens stop talking to parents. You just told them their pain is invalid because their circumstances don't justify it. Depression doesn't check your privilege before moving in. Brain chemistry doesn't pause to calculate whether your problems are big enough to warrant sadness. Depression isn't logical. It's medical. What they wish they could tell you, I know I have nothing to be depressed about. That makes it worse. Now I feel depressed. Now I feel depressed and guilty for being depressed. Thanks for the combo meal of suffering. Listing their blessings doesn't cure depression. It adds shame to depression. Now they're depressed about being depressed despite having no reason. Your teen isn't ungrateful. They're unwell. There's a difference. Which brings us to the thing parents say that makes everything worse. 4. It's because of that phone. You've decided screen time is the villain. Take away the phone. Problem solved. Except now they're still depressed and isolated from their only social connection. Congratulations, you've made it worse. The causation often runs backward. Depressed teens use phones more because they've already withdrawn from everything else. The phone isn't causing the depression. It's where they go when depression has already taken everything else. Taking it away doesn't cure depression. It removes their last connection to the outside world. Quick dang. All the studies I'm citing are linked in the description if you want to verify I'm not making this up. Unlike your teen's Snapchat usage, this actually has receipts. 5. Therapy is for crazy people. Your kid asks to see a therapist. You hear,
"I've failed as a parent."
so you say, "We can talk about anything. You don't need to tell a stranger our family business." What they hear, "Your problems embarrass me. Keep them hidden." When parents resist therapy, treatment gets delayed, outcomes get worse, and teens learn that mental health struggles are shameful secrets rather than treatable conditions. Therapy isn't where broken people go. It's where smart people go to prevent breaking. Your kid asking for therapy isn't an insult to your parenting. It's evidence that you raised someone smart enough to recognize when they need professional help. Would you be offended if they asked to see a dentist, a dermatologist? Why is brain health different? We can talk. Assumes you're qualified to treat depression. You're not. You're qualified to love them. Therapists are qualified to treat them. Both roles matter. You can't be both, and trying to be makes you worse at the one that actually is your job. But even if you get them to therapy, there's another fear that stops parents from getting their kids the full help they need. 6.
"I don't want my kids on medication."
Your doctor suggests antidepressants. You panic.
"They're too young. These drugs will change their personality. They'll become dependent. Isn't there a natural way?"
While you research supplements and diet changes, your kid is getting worse. Untreated teen depression carries higher risks than medicated depression. Suicide, substance abuse, long-term brain changes that make future episodes more severe. When monitored properly, antidepressants are safe and effective. Medication isn't giving up. It's giving your kid's brain the chemistry it needs to function while they learn coping skills through therapy. Would you withhold insulin from a diabetic kid? Would you refuse antibiotics for an infection because you're worried about dependency? Depression is medical. Sometimes it needs medical intervention. The fear makes sense. Medication feels like admitting something's really wrong, but something is really wrong, and pretending it's not doesn't protect them. It endangers them. Antidepressants don't change personality. They remove the depression that's hiding personality. That funny, engaged kid you miss, the medication might help you get him back. 7. They're just trying to get attention. Your teen mentions feeling suicidal. You think it's manipulation, drama, a cry for attention. You're right about one thing. It is a cry for attention because they're drowning and you're not noticing. Every study that looked at this found the same thing. Asking about suicidal thoughts does not increase suicidal behavior. It increases the likelihood they'll tell you the truth. Not one study found that asking about suicide plants the idea. What it actually does is open the door for them to tell you what they've been carrying alone. Here's the thing parents miss. There is no such thing as just wanting attention when the attention you're seeking is unbearable emotional pain. If your kid broke their leg and screamed for help, would you call that attention seeking? Their pain is real. Their need for help is real. The method of communication doesn't invalidate the emergency. Every teen suicide is preceded by warning signs that adults dismissed as drama, manipulation, or phases. Take every mention of suicide seriously. Every single one. Not seriously enough to panic and overreact. Seriously enough to get professional evaluation immediately. 8. If I acknowledge it, I'll make it worse. You've noticed the signs, but you haven't said anything. You're afraid that asking about depression will plant ideas, that bringing up suicide will give them permission. Every study on this says the opposite. Asking your child directly about suicide will not increase their risk or plant the idea. It creates an opportunity to offer support. Your silence doesn't protect them, it isolates them. They need to know you see them struggling, that it's okay to name what's happening, that help exists, and you'll support them getting it. I've noticed you seem really down lately. Want to talk about it? Isn't planting ideas, it's offering connection. Have you thought about hurting yourself? Isn't giving permission. It's opening a door for them to tell you the truth they've been carrying alone, which leads to the two beliefs that destroy parents from opposite directions. 9. This generation's just soft. I should have seen this coming. Two beliefs that destroy from opposite directions. First belief, kids today can't handle anything. In my day, we dealt with problems without medication and therapy. Your generation didn't handle problems better. You suffered silently. You self-medicated. You lived with untreated mental illness because acknowledging it wasn't culturally acceptable. The suicide rate among people your age suggests that generation wasn't tough. It was suffering without help. Today's teens aren't weaker. They're smarter. They recognize mental health as health. They ask for help instead of white-knuckling through decades of unnecessary pain. That's not soft. That's evolved. Second belief, I should have seen this coming. I reviewed every parenting decision looking for where I went wrong. Teen depression isn't caused by parenting. It's caused by complex interactions between genetics, brain chemistry, stress, trauma, and developmental changes. Parental response to depression matters enormously, but parental behavior rarely causes it. You didn't give them depression. You can help them recover from it. Stop asking, what did I do wrong? And start asking, what do they need now? They need you to believe them, to get them professional help, to support treatment, to learn about depression, to be patient while treatment works, to love them through this. The truth about teen depression. Depression lies. It tells your teen they're worthless, that nothing will get better, that nobody cares, that they're a burden. The biggest predictor of teen depression recovery isn't medication type or therapy approach. It's parental support and understanding. Parental warmth literally changes how their brain functions and predicts their mental health years later. Your teen doesn't need you to fix this. They need you to stand with them while professionals help them fix it. But they also need you to understand something most parents never figure out. The opposite of depression isn't happiness. It's presence, being there, believing them, not needing them to perform recovery on your timeline. Depression doesn't end with one conversation or one prescription. It ends with sustained presence through the long, boring, unglamorous middle where nothing dramatic happens and progress is invisible. That's where most parents give up, right before it works. And if you're wondering why your depressed teen seems so afraid to try, why they'd rather do nothing than risk failing, that's actually a separate pattern I covered in my video, Why Constant Praise Makes Teens Terrified of Failing. Watch it next. I'll connect the dots between what you've been doing and why they're struggling now.